Hello, everybody. We're getting ourselves out to the world. I like to put these things kind of out of the way. Okay, here we are. Got my sunscreen on. And just kind of out here. Making sure to keep our privacy here. Gotta keep it kind of close if people come by. But this is quite a heavy backpack. Let's see. I think 3 miles is probably good for a rocking adventure. Or no, let's go the other. Oh, if I go this direction. I know, like yesterday felt pretty rough. I had a bit of a issue going on that I guess I can talk about now because I've kind of resolved it for now. I forgot to submit an application to potentially get extra benefits, and so I waited on hold for 2 hours on trying to talk to SSA, but I ended up being able to talk to someone, and she explained to me that it's like they were just trying to get my attention, that it was just like I was supposed to. I thought I did everything I needed to, that I had the phone interview, and I thought that I submitted all the paperwork, but they also wanted me to submit an online application, which I thought was something else, and it was just frustrating. And but they gave me enough money to tie me over, and I just have to kind of hold on while the process goes forward. I might actually be making additional money, which will help me with housing, so it might actually be a good thing. At the very least, hopefully they just reinstate my SSI. I don't have to go through the whole entire process. This is just a temporary thing. I was freaking out really badly because SSI is the only thing holding me together right now. I am not equipped to go find employment. The whole purpose of SSI was supposed to help me train in order to get to a better situation, but the situation I'm in is not conducive, and I'm working on it. It's not like I'm just trying to get handouts. That's not what's going on. I've been working on it for several years, and I got myself through surgeries, and like a lot of it is just, I had to go through a lot of turmoil just to get to where I am now. But here's the thing, is if I didn't keep trying, none of that would have happened. I would have just been stuck where I was 6 years ago. But, you know, I not only got surgeries, but now I'm in a position where I am, you know, even though it's frustrating trying to deal with, you know, government agencies and all that kind of stuff, it's really slow and it really negatively impacts people's lives. But if I didn't do it at all, I'd be way behind. And so I try to look at things that way. That even though things seem really bad, I'm way better off than if I didn't keep pushing. You know, I just kept pushing. You know, just keep putting yourself out there. Because they're expecting people to give up. You know, they don't want to help people. Because there's already so many people who need help. They kind of create the system in a way that most people would just give up. And if you keep on, you know, putting your foot in the door, don't let them shut the door on you, and you keep on saying, I need these services. They reward that. And I'm going to be getting help I need. Because I don't want to just live on disability payments. I want to make a better life. But I can't do that if I don't have those payments. And I have to accept that sometimes it makes you really strong to go get help. You know, like I didn't start out being able to carry this heavy backpack. You know, I've spent years exercising. You know, this didn't just happen overnight. It's been multiple years of training my body to withstand extended physical fitness. But if I didn't start at all, I would just, you know, there's nothing wrong with being where you're at, because 6 years ago I was where I was. But now, you know, I'm able to, you know, I get really tired, but like I'm able to withstand, you know, extremely, you know, difficult physical fitness trials, you know? So it's like it's so easy to look at the small picture and not look at the big picture. Like, I'm way better off now than if I didn't start at all. And, you know, the same goes with my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is kind of broken. I'm mainly focused on using it as a journal. It's not necessarily, at this time, not necessarily useful for my content creation. I'm not very good at the moment at creating content. I would like to make video essays. I know it's kind of, some people are kind of tired of video essays. I know that, but, you know, there's a reason it's so popular. Because it's a format where you're not only writing essays, but you're able to put images to it. I do think that it's very important to keep written essays format. And then what you do is I can publish to my blog, and then take my blog articles once they're finished. Then I have something to work with to create a video essay with. And maybe I have to strip it down and maybe expand on some parts of it. It's a different format. It's a different medium. Message is held for review. Shut up. Kaylee, what's wrong with you? I don't understand why you're here then. Yeah, people like Kaylee are always going to be coming into the chat, but that's kind of the nature of it, you know? People are going to say what they want to say. You know, say what you want to say. But, you know, it's hard to take it seriously when there's like this beautiful world out there. You know, look at where I live. You know, this is like the most beautiful part of California. It's highly expensive, but you know, it's where I'm also getting, it's like you have to make trade-offs, right? Like, even though it's more expensive to live here, there's also more resources. And I'm getting those resources. I'm getting resources that I probably wouldn't be getting elsewhere. That, you know, as difficult as things feel, like I'm positioning myself in a place where I can get help. And there's a bird. The bird. Yeah, it's a beautiful bird flying. That's kind of what I'm doing. You know, just keep flying and going with what needs to be done. Just a second, I have to pass somebody. Okay, I just had to pass somebody. You know, like life hands us so many different things. And it's like it tests us. It puts us in situations where it feels like we should just give up. But then, like, this is what life is. This is what we're fighting for. It's neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. And the closer we get to that, the more likely we are to get to places where we can see the more, you know, like, because obviously we're humans and we see things subjectively. And even though there's this weird idea that Zen requires us to be completely ambivalent, or what's the word, indifferent to reality, that we should just accept things the way they are. It's what Taoism teaches, is that life simply is. It is. But the thing is we're not the same as the world around us. And I think it's very short-sighted to think of Zen or Taoism as simply surrendering, because it's accepting that our nature is that we are impassioned, that we do feel things subjectively as beautiful or painful, and that itself is acceptance. Accepting that we are creatures. We have emotions, we have passions, we have desires, we have, you know, ups and downs. That is part of being what we are. And I feel like when people find, you know, Zen teachings, I feel like a lot of people find what they want to find. And they'll find things such as, Zen is about surrendering to nothingness, but that's not necessarily the case. That Zen is about giving up the need to control what we cannot control, and understanding that there is some level of control and we get to choose those things. That two people can be in the same exact situation and make different choices, and neither of those choices is right or wrong, but they might be right or wrong for that individual. And that's important, because I feel like a lot of human suffering happens when we fail to see that. When we fail to see that our lived experience is mostly out of our control, but that doesn't mean that life is meaningless. It means that there are some things that are very much in our control, and we should look for those, and that becomes life. That becomes the challenge. That we need to find the moments where, in those small ways, we can find control. Discerning. Discernment is the real journey that we're on. And here's the thing, is at any given moment, one thing that we can control can then become something we can control, and vice versa. That we must be ever vigilant. That it's an ongoing process for all eternity. That at any given moment, everything we know might be wrong. And that once we feel that we have all the answers, that's when we truly know nothing. And what does that even mean? It means that there is no end goal. There is only a path. And that path will take us in so many different directions, and none of them are wrong. None of them are right either. But they are a path, and you have to decide which path you want to be on. Because, the world isn't going to care. The universe isn't going to care. God is not going to care. It just is. And so we are these agents of change within ourselves. That we have to, find what is causing our suffering. What is making us want change? And if we can't find those things, then that's up to us whether or not we want to find them. Some people don't, and that's okay. Some people never find it, and unfortunately, that's also okay. But you don't know until you try. And that's why we keep trying. That's what makes us alive. Maybe that's what time is. Time is the path. And that path only moves forward. And, according to quantum mechanics, it can also move backwards. But in any case, the objective observer is always moving forward. And you are the objective observer. And so you only have a choice of, that you have to keep finding what your forward needs to be. And if you can't find that, then your job becomes finding that. Or it becomes accepting that you can't find it. Or it becomes resting until you change your mind. or it becomes studying scriptures and ancient Buddhism, or it becomes discarding all of that and climbing a mountain to find it for yourself. All of these things are the same. The only thing that's different is you. And I think that, like, that old parable of the student, the teacher who lives on top of the mountain in a temple, and all these people around the world climb the mountain to see the teacher. And then the teacher literally is just existing. The teacher is literally just doing the thing that he's doing. And all these people are just copying him. And that's their path to do too. There is no wrong. But here's the thing is, like, you have to ask yourself, are you doing this because you think the teacher is wise? Or are you doing this because this is truly what you want to do? And maybe it's what you want to do. Maybe you want to spend your life in a temple and meditating and living on the mountain with barely anything but the bare minimum of what requires to sustain life. That might be what you want. But so many people, I think the idea of that parable is that when we seek answers, we're going to find them. And if your answer is, I'm going to find this teacher and this teacher will teach me everything about Zen, then that's what you're going to find. But at no time did you need that teacher, because you were the one discovering it. It wasn't the teacher who told you. It wasn't the teacher who trained you to understand these things. That was your own observations and your own lessons that you were learning. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to seek out teachers. I don't think that's the lesson. I know that that's the lesson a lot of people who study Zen arrive at. I know a lot of people get to that answer, but that's only part of the equation. It's minimizing the idea into a way that makes sense. And most people seem to think that the idea of that story, that parable, or that proverb, whatever you want to call it, is that you shouldn't seek out teachers. And that's not what at least I don't think that's what it's about. I think that as soon as you start finding easy solutions, you're only finding what you wanted to see. And that what you wanted to see was that the answer is not climbing the mountain. The answer is not seeking out the teacher. And for you, that's true, if that's what your answer is. But for some, that's absolutely the answer. That they want to live an ascetic life. They want to live as a monk in a temple. They want to seek out ancient knowledge and look for knowledge from within. And that's perfectly fine. Because there is no requirement. And I feel like it's just like the deeper you dive into it and the deeper you look for answers, the more answers you're going to find. And then that kind of drowns you. Or it can. Because it kind of traps you in this never-ending cycle of seeking out knowledge. And, that's okay too, because that's where you're at. But if you truly want to find who you are, you have to look elsewhere. Because nothing outside of you is going to be helpful. Everything outside of you, all of this stuff that exists outside here, all of this only exists outside of you. It doesn't exist elsewhere. And if you don't look inside for what you truly want, all of this stuff is meaningless. You could be living in a box, in a coffin, like a vampire. You could be living on top of a mountain. You could be living in a giant palace. You could be living in a bustling city. None of that matters. Because the only thing that matters is that we are an individual human being with our own path in front of us. And I am trying to find a path for myself that will be more conducive to finding what I need out of this life. And I've done a pretty damn good job so far. You know, not everybody achieves what I've achieved. I've changed my body to match my spiritual identity. That is like the definition of transcendence. It doesn't mean the surgeries themselves were what caused that. That happened internally. In order to get the surgeries to happen, ironically, I had to overcome these obstacles. If the surgeries were given to me, maybe it would have helped. But in order to get the surgeries to happen, I had to face obstacles internally. I had to rise above the disorder that was inside of me. I had to face challenges that I was avoiding. Challenges external and challenges internal. There was a lot of external challenges, of course, but all of those external challenges required me to overcome extreme internal difficulties. And if I had never overcome them, I would have been very unlikely to have succeeded. Oh, hi, Mafundo. You're number one. But you know, it's all we can really do is just keep moving. You know, just like rucking. You put that backpack on. You know, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and nothing can undo the progress that you made. I guess I can just enjoy the moment for now. Yeah, I don't have to always be talking. I think that's one of the things that I have difficulty with during my live streams is I feel like I always have to be adding something. I feel like I always have to be contributing something to the conversation. And of course, yeah, there shouldn't really be any dead space, but sometimes the empty space is the content, and that's okay too. Listen to the sounds of nature around us. Just enjoy the sunshine. The air. The sounds of the cars in the distance. Sounds of the insects buzzing, droning. And all of that's okay. I'm going to stop here for a second and let people pass. I guess, having this load-bearing weight is really helpful. Evenly distributes the weight across and strengthens my back muscles. Also burns more calories. I'm at a pretty healthy weight right now. I'm at 158 pounds. I'm 6 foot tall, so that's pretty evenly distributed. When I'm not doing so healthy, I'll go down to 138. I don't think I've ever been really that much higher than 165, unless I was really out of shape. Mostly I have a problem gaining weight. It's harder for me to gain weight than it is for me to lose weight. And I know some people might think that's a good problem. It's not. Because you need that, in order to fuel your body, in order to protect your body, you need that additional fat and all that. Well, I actually think I'm kind of running out of things to say, and I think I want to enjoy the rest of my hike quietly. So I'm going to head out. Things are going to be okay. Just take one foot in front of the other. Take one breath after another. And just keep fighting. Because eventually things are going to work out.